So I'll go ahead and open, if that's okay with you, for my opening statements. And I want to welcome the panelists, first of all, and the members, the senators here. Much of what Senator Inhofe has said is contained in my opening statement, but I think some of it bears repeating. Just yesterday, we passed two bipartisan resolutions under the Congressional Review Act, one of which I co-sponsored, the other Senator McConnell, or I sponsored. And I brought those up because they're, in my opinion, they're inextricably tied to the upcoming climate negotiations. President Obama cannot meet his goal of 20 to 28% reduction in CO2 emissions without the full implementation of this regulation, and we believe that that stands on shaky legal and political ground. The Senate has now formally rejected these rules, and we expect the House to do the same, and then the President will have a chance to make his opinion known. But over half our states, 27 to be precise, have now sued the EPA to block these rules. Last week, as Chairman Inhofe said, it was reported that Secretary of State insisted that the international climate agreement expected to be reached in Paris was, quote, definitely not going to be a treaty, and Chairman Inhofe mentioned that he said there would be no binding agreement. This prompted French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius to suggest that Secretary Kerry was, quote, confused. The French president then weighed in, quote, if the agreement is not legally binding, there won't be agreement. And as did the European Union, whose spokesperson was quoted as saying, quote, we work on the basis that the Paris Agreement must be an internationally binding agreement, end quote. If major participants in the upcoming COP21 negotiations cannot agree on the legal status of any forthcoming agreement, no wonder those of us here today have questions. Will this agreement be legally binding or not? If so, will it be submitted to the Senate for ratification as required by the Constitution? Chairman Inhofe, as he mentioned too, invited the EPA, the CEQ, and State Department to testify before the committee and provide missing information related to the President's 26 to 28% greenhouse gas emissions target. EPA and CEQ have thus far demurred, saying they lack involvement and relative expertise. I share the Chairman's hope that the administration will reconsider and allow witnesses to come before this committee in the coming year, particularly given press reports such as last week when Climate Wire reported that EPA Administrator McCarthy meets regularly with White House staff alongside Secretary of State Kerry and Secretary of Energy Muniz to prepare for Paris and is likely going herself. The legal status of an agreement is one issue that negotiators must resolve. Financial payments demanded by developing countries from the United States and other countries are another, and I hope we will touch on those today. The President has pledged to send $3 billion to the Green Climate Fund. He included a $500 million request in his FY 2016 budget. The House and the Senate, state and foreign appropriators, I'm on the Appropriation Committee, have allocated $0. It is important to make clear, I think, to the rest of the world as climate talks approach that Congress has the power of the purse. I look forward to hearing from our distinguished panel of witnesses. Again, I thank them for coming, and that we have a robust discussion, as we always do in this committee. I've learned that in the short time I've been here. And I would like to recognize Senator Carper for an opening statement.